The story opens in the heart of a bustling city, but the lens focuses not on skyscrapers or busy markets, but on the forgotten corners, narrow alleyways, overflowing garbage bins, and the cracked pavements where life feels harsh and unforgiving. Amid this chaos, we meet our protagonist, a young homeless boy of about 12 years. His clothes are tattered, and his face is smudged with the dust and grime of the streets, but his eyes are sharp, alert, and brimming with curiosity. Despite his youth, he navigates the urban jungle with astonishing skill, moving quietly between piles of trash, looking for anything of value or use. The boy's world is defined by scarcity and survival. He rummages through discarded items, old gears, broken tools, scraps of metal, anything that could serve a purpose. He treats these scraps not as garbage but as potential, testing and tinkering with them in small makeshift corners where no one pays attention. There is a quiet intelligence to his actions. He understands the mechanics of simple devices intuitively. While other children might see waste, he sees possibilities. He assembles tiny contraptions, tests their movement, and learns from each failure, his eyes lighting up with each small success. Amid the struggle, his life is punctuated by moments of hunger and discomfort. He scours the streets for food, sometimes sharing scraps with a stray dog that has become his companion. Rainy days are harsh and nights are cold and lonely. But even in these harsh conditions, he finds beauty in small victories. A discarded wrench that fits perfectly, a gear that spins smoothly, a broken watch he manages to repair. These little moments reveal his resilience and ingenuity, hinting at a brilliance hidden beneath layers of poverty. Despite his circumstances, there is a quiet dignity in the boy's character. He is unnoticed by most, ignored by passers-by, and underestimated by adults. People see him as a nuisance or simply invisible, yet he carries within him a remarkable mind, capable of understanding complex mechanics. There's a dream behind his eyes, an unspoken desire to rise above the grime and hardship, to create, fix, and perhaps one day belong somewhere. This opening scene sets the stage for the extraordinary journey that follows. It establishes the stark contrast between the boy's harsh surroundings and the untapped genius within him. The audience feels a deep sense of empathy and admiration as they watch this young mind, brilliant yet unrecognized, navigating a world that has largely forgotten him. By the end of this scene, viewers are invested in his story. They sense that, despite the adversity surrounding him, this boy is destined to achieve something remarkable, something no one in his world could ever anticipate. The story shifts from the grimy streets to a starkly different environment, a sprawling industrial complex where massive machinery dominates the landscape and the hum of engines fills the air. The camera follows the young homeless boy as he cautiously approaches this world of steel and precision, a place far removed from the alleys and trash heaps he knows so well. He watches from a distance, his eyes widening at the sight of enormous hydraulic engines, pipes and pistons, all of them pulsating with mechanical energy. Among these giants stands the one machine that has captured the attention of every engineer in the city, a $12 million hydraulic engine that is inexplicably broken down. Inside the engine room, tension hangs thick in the air. A team of highly trained engineers and technicians huddle around the massive machine, their faces etched with frustration and worry. They have tried every standard procedure, every diagnostic tool, every known method to revive the engine, yet it remains stubbornly silent. The clock is ticking, investors are anxious, and the weight of the failure threatens careers and reputations. The boy observes quietly from the shadows, unnoticed amid the chaos. What others see as an insurmountable problem, he approaches with curiosity and fascination. Intrigued, he slips closer, examining the engine with an intensity that belies his age. Every component, the valves, pistons, and hydraulic lines, becomes a puzzle piece in his mind. He recalls the scraps and makeshift devices he has experimented with on the streets and begins forming unconventional ideas about how the engine might be fixed. He notices things the experts do not. A slight misalignment here, a small leak there, tiny clues overlooked in the panic of the adults around him. His innate understanding of mechanics, honed in the harshest conditions, gives him a fresh perspective that no one in the polished, industrial setting possesses. As the engineers continue their futile attempts, the boy steps closer to the engine. He runs his hands over the cold metal, analyzing how parts move and interact. His fingers trace the complex network of pipes and joints, and in his mind he begins to reconstruct the machine, understanding where it resists motion and where energy is lost. He doesn't have professional tools, But he has resourcefulness, a key that will soon unlock the impossible. The scene is rich with tension and anticipation. The audience feels the stark contrast between the child's calm focus and the adult's panic. Every frame emphasizes the improbability of what is about to happen. A destitute street child, unnoticed and underestimated, silently preparing to achieve what the most educated experts cannot. The narrative builds suspense, highlighting both the magnitude of the challenge and the boy's extraordinary potential. By the end of this scene, viewers are captivated. They sense that the boy is on the brink of performing an extraordinary feat. His ingenuity, honed in the streets, is about to collide with the world of industrial precision, setting the stage for a miracle that no one saw coming. The audience is left with a mix of tension, awe, and anticipation, eager to witness the next moment when this young mind will defy all expectations. The atmosphere inside the engine room is tense, thick with frustration and disbelief. Engineers are pacing, muttering, and consulting manuals, while the massive $12 million hydraulic engine remains stubbornly silent. The boy, still unnoticed, kneels near a corner of the enormous machine. His small hands, roughened from street life, hover over pipes, valves, and bolts, tracing the intricate lines of the engine with remarkable precision. Unlike the professionals, he does not rely on protocols or instruction manuals. He trusts his intuition, honed through years of improvising and experimenting with discarded mechanical parts. He begins his work quietly, almost reverently. Using scraps he has carried in his backpack, an old wrench, a bent screwdriver, and pieces of metal, he starts adjusting components that the engineers have long overlooked. A minor misalignment here, a stubborn piston there. Every small correction is a step closer to reviving the machine. The boy's movements are deliberate, almost meditative, as though he is communicating with the engine itself. The audience senses a profound connection forming between the child and the colossal machine, a bond of understanding and empathy, where intellect meets instinct. As he works, tension mounts. The camera focuses on close-ups of his hands, manipulating tiny components against the backdrop of enormous pistons and valves. Sparks of hope flicker when a minor function of the engine begins to respond. A small hydraulic pump hums. A valve opens. A piston trembles. The engineers notice subtle changes but dismiss them as coincidence. Only the audience understands the magnitude of the moment. A homeless child with no formal training is orchestrating a repair that no expert has been able to achieve. The climax of the scene arrives in a burst of dramatic tension. With a final adjustment, a small, ingenious maneuver that only someone with the boy's resourcefulness could conceive, the engine roars to life. Pistons pump smoothly, valves operate perfectly, and the machine exudes power and precision. The noise reverberates through the industrial hall, silencing the murmuring engineers and leaving the investors in stunned awe. The camera captures the disbelief etched across the faces of the professionals. They are witnessing a miracle, a feat beyond comprehension, executed by someone they would have never imagined. The boy steps back, eyes shining with a mix of satisfaction and relief. For him, it is not fame or recognition that matters. It is the joy of creation, the triumph of intellect over adversity. Yet in this moment, the world cannot ignore him. Whispers ripple through the room, turning into exclamations of amazement. Questions abound. Who is this child? How did he do it? How could a homeless boy fix what the finest engineers failed to repair? This scene is the emotional and narrative heart of the story. It embodies awe, suspense, and inspiration simultaneously. The audience is invited to marvel at the boy's extraordinary ingenuity, his courage, and the transformative power of determination and creativity. Scene 3 delivers the turning point. The invisible child from the streets has not only solved an impossible problem but has begun to change the way the world sees him and what he is capable of achieving. The deafening roar of the hydraulic engine fills the industrial hall, echoing off the steel beams and concrete walls. Engineers, supervisors, and investors freeze in disbelief, staring at the now functioning $12 million machine. Some rub their eyes, convinced they are imagining it. Others speak in hushed, incredulous whispers. The atmosphere is thick with astonishment, confusion, and a dawning realization that something extraordinary has just occurred. All eyes slowly shift to the source of the miracle. In the corner, standing small but radiant with quiet pride, is the young homeless boy. His clothes are still tattered, his face smeared with dirt, and his hands bear the marks of relentless street work. yet his posture exudes confidence, his eyes glimmering with a mix of humility and satisfaction. The engineer's astonishment turns into shock as they realize that the genius who revived the engine is not one of them, not a trained professional, but a child they would have dismissed without a second thought. The supervisor approaches cautiously, disbelief etched on his face. "You did this?" he asks, his voice barely above a whisper. The boy nods, his expression calm and steady, as if he has always known this moment would come, though he could never have imagined the audience. Slowly, the room fills with murmurs of awe and curiosity. Questions fly. How did he know? What tools did he use? How could a child with no formal education solve a problem that had stumped the most experienced engineers? Investors and journalists begin to take notice. Cameras flash, voices record, and the news spreads like wildfire. The boy's ingenuity is no longer invisible. It is celebrated, dissected, and shared with the world. Each expert who had doubted him now studies his method, realizing that true talent can emerge from the most unexpected places. The narrative shifts from one of failure and frustration to a story of hope, innovation, and the limitless potential of human creativity. Amid the shock and recognition, the boy remains composed. He does not boast, nor does he seek praise. His eyes, however, reflect a quiet understanding. This moment could change his life. He has gone from being overlooked and ignored to being seen, valued, and admired. Colleagues offer congratulations, and mentors extend invitations, recognizing the rare brilliance in this young mind. The emotional impact on the audience is profound. Viewers feel joy and relief as the child is finally acknowledged for his exceptional talent. Scene 4 also highlights the stark contrast between society's expectations and reality. Adults steeped in formal training and social privilege had dismissed the possibility of genius emerging from the streets. This recognition challenges assumptions, showing that brilliance knows no boundaries of age, background, or circumstance. It underscores the story's inspirational message. Talent, perseverance, and ingenuity can flourish even in the harshest conditions. By the end of the scene, the boy has transformed from a shadow of society to a beacon of possibility. The applause, astonished faces, and admiration of those around him signal not just a personal victory, but a universal reminder that greatness often comes from the most unexpected places. Scene 4 leaves the audience inspired, ready to follow him into a future filled with hope, opportunity, and the promise of even greater accomplishments. With a massive hydraulic engine now functioning perfectly, the young boy steps out of the industrial hall into a world that suddenly looks different. The streets he once navigated with caution and stealth are no longer the only defining landscape of his life. Doors that were once closed to him, doors of opportunity, education, and recognition now open, signaling a future that he had only dared to imagine in dreams. Scene 5 captures this transformative moment, illustrating how perseverance, talent, and courage can completely reshape a life. The scene begins with the boy being approached by the very engineers and mentors who once doubted him. They are eager to nurture his extraordinary potential. Offers of education, apprenticeships, and mentorship flood in. The boy's natural curiosity, once confined to the alleys and discarded scraps of the city, is now given space to flourish in workshops, laboratories, and classrooms equipped with proper tools and guidance. Every step he takes in this new world is a step toward a life where his talent is recognized and valued, not hidden in the shadows of poverty. Despite the overwhelming attention, the boy remains humble. He is cautious but curious, absorbing new knowledge with the same keen focus he displayed while fixing the engine. His past hardships, cold nights, hunger, and struggle have shaped him, but they no longer define him. Instead, they serve as a source of strength and resilience. Each new skill he learns, each tool he masters, and each project he undertakes becomes a testament to his unwavering determination and ingenuity. The emotional core of this scene is the contrast between his past and present. Flashbacks of him scavenging through trash, tinkering with broken objects in the rain, and facing rejection and neglect are juxtaposed against moments of success, mentorship, and opportunity. The audience sees the full arc of his journey, from invisibility to recognition, from survival to growth, from despair to hope. Every gesture, the spark in his eyes, the careful handling of a tool, the gentle smile as someone praises his work signals the depth of his transformation. The scene also emphasizes the broader message of the story. Talent and potential are not confined by circumstance. Genius can emerge from the most unexpected places, And society's assumptions about who is capable of greatness are often flawed. The boy's story inspires those around him in the audience, serving as a universal reminder that determination, creativity, and courage can overcome even the most daunting obstacles. By the end of the scene, the boy stands confidently in a workshop, holding a blueprint or a wrench, a symbol of the bright future ahead. The streets he once roamed now feel like a distant memory, but they have left an indelible mark on him, a resilience, resourcefulness, and perspective that will guide him through every challenge he faces. Scene 5 closes on an uplifting note, leaving viewers with a profound sense of hope and inspiration. The story is not just about fixing an engine, it is about the human spirit, the triumph of ingenuity, and the promise of a life transformed by opportunity, recognition, and the courage to believe in oneself.